All right, so every year, right before the big union budget, the Indian government drops its official report card on the economy. You know, the economic survey. But this thing is way more than just a bunch of numbers. It tells a story about where India is headed. So let's dive right in and break down what the 2025-26 survey is really telling us.
I mean, this one sentence from the chief economic advisor, it just nails the core message of the entire report. Think about it. The rest of the world is dealing with all this turbulence, right? Geopolitical stress, a ton of uncertainty, and right in the middle of it all, the survey paints this picture of India as, well, not just a survivor, but an actual beacon of stability and strength. An oasis, for real.
Okay, so just how strong are we talking? Well, the survey actually calls it a Goldilocks moment. And you know what that means, right? It's that economists speak for when things are just right. Not too hot, not too cold. We're talking about that perfect, almost mythical sweet spot. Really strong growth, but without that nasty sting of high inflation.
And here's the headline number that backs it all up. Get this, a projected GDP growth of 7.4%. That is huge. This officially makes India the fastest growing major economy in the world for the fourth year in a row. You can just feel it, right? The engine is absolutely firing on all cylinders.
Now, here's the other side of that Goldilocks coin. While the economy was booming at that crazy pace, guess what inflation was? Just 1.7%. That's a historic low. And this is so important because it means that growth isn't just some abstract number. It actually translates into real spending power in your pocket. For families, for businesses, it's what fuels the whole system from the ground up.
And look, this isn't just a one-time thing, not a flash in the pan. The survey shows this momentum is set to continue. Just look at these projections, right? You've got advanced economies struggling to hit 2%, the global average is around 3.3%, and then there's India, cruising along at around 7%. It's this kind of sustained, high-octane growth that, well, it allows you to start thinking differently. It allows for a major shift in ambition.
And that brings us to what might be the biggest idea in this whole survey. We're talking about a massive shift in national ambition. It's like moving from playing defense to playing offense on the world stage. A whole new game plan.
So for years, right, the goal was what they call strategic resilience. The best way to think about it is like building these giant economic shock absorbers. The whole focus was just making sure the Indian economy could take a punch, whether it was a global crisis, a trade war, a pandemic, and not fall apart. It was all about being tough, being durable.
But now, the new goal is, wow, it's way more ambitious. It's called strategic indispensability. This means it's not enough to just absorb shocks anymore. The new aim is to become so deeply woven into the global system in manufacturing and tech and services that the world literally can't run properly without India. It's not about being tough, it's about being essential.
So this is the vision, right? To weave India so deeply into the very arteries of global trade and technology that it becomes a vital, non-negotiable partner for everyone else. Not just another player, but a true global anchor.
But hey, this survey is no cheerleader's report. It's not all sunshine and roses. It also takes a really honest look at the tough stuff, the complex challenges, and even some weird paradoxes India has to navigate on this journey.
And this leads us to maybe the biggest puzzle of all. It's a question a lot of us have probably been wondering about. If the economy is so strong, we're talking record growth, super low inflation, huge foreign exchange reserves, then why on earth is the rupee weakening? Why has it been under so much pressure?
It really is a paradox. On one side, you have these incredible economic fundamentals, and on the other, you have a currency that, as the survey itself says, seems to be punching below its weight. And what this really shows is a new truth about the world we live in. Having a strong economy at home, well, it's no longer a golden ticket to a stable currency. Not when you have all this volatile capital flying around the globe.
So yeah, that whole rupee paradox just goes to show how unpredictable the outside world can be. Which brings us to what the survey calls out as the single biggest internal challenge, the main hurdle standing in the way of that 2047 developed nation goal. And you know what? It's probably not what you're thinking.
The survey makes it super clear. The biggest obstacle isn't a lack of money, and it's not a lack of good ideas or plans. The real challenge is something called state capacity. And what does that mean? Well, in simple terms, it's the government's ability to actually get things done. It's the nuts and bolts of making policies work. So it's one thing to announce a budget for a new highway, right? But it's another thing entirely to have the efficient systems to acquire the land, manage the project, and make sure it gets built right. It all boils down to execution.
All right, so after all that, after this really detailed diagnosis of the economy, what's the big takeaway? What does this roadmap to 2047 look like when we put all the pieces together?
Okay, let's just quickly run through the key points here. First, you've got that massive strategic shift in thinking, right? Going from just being tough and resilient to becoming absolutely indispensable to the world. That whole ambition is possible because of this Goldilocks moment, that amazing combo of high growth and low inflation, all powered by us here at home. But, and this is a big but, the main hurdle now isn't money. It's all about execution, that state capacity we talked about. And really, all of this boils down to one final crucial idea. The whole conversation about India has changed. It's not about potential anymore. It's about performance.
And this last quote from the survey, man, it just says it all, doesn't it? The days of just talking about India's potential are over. It's done. From now on, it's all going to come down to one single question. Can India build the discipline and the institutional muscle to actually perform at the same level as its massive ambitions? Answering that question, that's the challenge that's going to define the next chapter of this incredible economic story.
And that's our quick breakdown of the economic survey. Hope you found this useful. If you did, you know the drill. Like, share, and subscribe. And we really want to know what you think. What are your thoughts on India's economic future? Let us know down in the comments.